Good evening. Welcome to the election news headquarters this Monday. It's been a hectic day when it comes to elections phase 5. We have crossed that 425 mark in India's parliamentary elections as it completes phase 5. Still not numbers trickling in, but the last numbers that we have had is 57.5% for phase 5 of elections. Interestingly, this particular phase had 13 seats in Maharashtra, which were important. Along with that, 5 seats in Bengal that went to polls. Also taking a look at Uttar Pradesh, where there were close to 14 seats. All interesting battles. Lots to talk about in today's edition of the Great Indian Election. There are many big star candidates in this phase of elections. And this phase of elections has seen, at least in Maharashtra, the voter turnout once again disappointing. The least in the 5 that we have seen. Maharashtra not giving you promising numbers. 49% of voting. Put that against Baramulla, which has put you record numbers when it comes to voting, breaking a 30-year record when it comes to voting in Baramulla. What does that signify? Lots to talk about, especially with Baramulla and the voting pattern in Uttar Pradesh and also Maharashtra. Let's get started on the Great Indian Election. Well, it's been an election, where we've seen many moods change, especially when it comes to elections in India's parliamentary elections. Phase 5, there were challenges, especially with the summer now setting in. We are into that final lap, when it comes to elections. And let's first shift our focus to the western part of India. In the west, you just had Maharashtra that went to polls, 13 seats in Maharashtra. 6 of that in the metropolitan city of Mumbai, and the other 7 seats in and around Mumbai, heading deep into Nasik, where the voting today, it was the final phase of voting. Remember, Maharashtra's elections are over and out, and we've got our correspondent there on the ground to get us the latest buzz on how Maharashtra is turned out to vote. Yogesh Sheetal getting us the ground pulse there, joining us this evening. Yogesh, good evening. Welcome to the Great Indian Elections. Let me look at these numbers. Maharashtra, once again, the lowest turnout in all the 5 phases that you see in Maharashtra, and with maximum city voting today, Maharashtra seems to be getting, or seems to be, in nobody's hands when it comes to, taking a call on how Maharashtra and the fortunes of the political parties of Maharashtra.
Very good evening. That is really a concern. I think just see the voter turnout. As of now, the figure is not completely out yet. But yes, we can see this is a figure that may need concern for the election commission also, because coming to all these states, Maharashtra has recorded the lowest turnout, and Mumbai, coming particularly to Mumbai, because in other pockets of Maharashtra, like in Lindori, performance is a bit good. Coming to also Palghar, performance is good, but yeah, in cities there are 6 constituencies, and in these constituencies the turnout is roughly somewhere around 46 to 48 between these 2 figures. So yes, turnout is a concern, obviously. Now coming to the reasons behind this can only be given after the proper analysis, because what may be the reasons? Urban apathy has been a concern. A lot of articles we have seen by the former election commissioners and by the experts also on this issue. So urban apathy may be a concern, but the way we have seen in the entire day where we have visited multiple polling booths, particularly in Bandra, we have seen all the celebrities, majority of celebrities exercise their franchise, and the young voters, the first-time voters, turned up in large numbers in their polling booths, and also the Divyang people, women. So the participation was good, but yes, voter turnout, the ultimate result is not as we were expecting. Now coming to issues. See, in Maharashtra, the ultimate thing is to claim the legacy of late Balasaheb Thackeray. This is the exact thing which is just going around between 2 factions of Balasaheb Thackeray and Shiv Eknath Shinde. On the same line, coming to NCP, who will claim the real NCP, because the Supreme Court is already clear, the political dust has already been settled. Now the symbol, the party symbol is already with Ajit Pawar. But who will claim the exact workers, the party workers, the foot soldiers of the entire Western Maharashtra, particularly the sugar base, the Solapur, Pune, Chiru, Mawal, Pune city. These are the constituencies where we have seen that how the entire battle was between the both section of NCP led by Ajit Pawar, NCP led by Sharad Pawar. Now
Okay.
coming to BJP and Congress, yes, in 2019 we are seeing all the six constituencies in Mumbai were won by NTA, comprising of Shiv Sena and BJP. Now this time it remains to be seen that what would be the result, what would be the result of the entire effort, entire engagement, entire, you can see the Herculean task that was taken by all the top leaders of these parties. So it's obviously the battle in Maharashtra, political battle is over now, we can see. But yes, the entire things are now, it remains to be seen that how the things are going to unfold in the days to come. Over to
Okay.
you, Anil.
Okay. We also got Gautam Roy joining us from Ladakh. We've got Salman Haider joining us from Bihar. Let me come first to you, Gautam. Looking at the numbers from Ladakh and Baramulla breaking their 30-year-old record, put these two numbers into significance, especially for viewers across the globe.
Well, Anil, good evening, or Jule from Ladakh, and yes, it is significant in terms of the number of people turning up to vote, because it tells us that people are taking an active interest, a very enthusiastic interest in this democratic exercise that is going on through the nation. Although some people have talked about 7 phases being too long, some people saying that the turnout has been lower in the previous phases, but let's see if the voters in this particular phase turn a new leaf. We've seen in Ladakh till 5 p.m. 67.15% polling. The final figures are still to come in, because as I was explained by Ladakh's Chief Electoral Officer, Mr. Maralkar, that there are certain dark areas where mobile networks are not that great. Even walkie-talkies that they have, which work, I think, on shortwave, don't really work that well. Not too many of them. Some polling stations, about half a dozen of them. And the other thing to note is that there are 2 districts in Ladakh, which is the largest constituency in the country in terms of a parliamentary seat. And the difference between Leh district and Kargil district, the 2 districts that are there in this constituency, Leh 62.5% for 5 p.m. and Kargil district is 71.45%. So Kargil crossed the overall poll percentage of 2019, but Leh was having some trouble catching up. But this is a figure for 5 p.m. I'm sure there will be a much higher figure for the final close of polling, which was 6 p.m.
Okay, let's also shift and get Salman Haider on board. Salman, seats in Bihar that went to polls. Give us a sense of the big ticket clash, especially in many seats in Bihar that take place, and the voting pattern that one seen in Bihar in this particular phase.
Yes, Anil, a very good evening to you. First of all, I would say the voters' turnout didn't rise since last phase,
Okay.
or rather last 4 phases, and it remained between 50 to 53%. On an average, it was 52.80 something.
Okay.
So the lowest recorded 50.46 in Saran district, while the highest was 55.30 in Muzaffarpur. So these were the situation, and if we talk about the stalwarts, big wigs, Hajipur, where the
Chirag
son
Paswan.
of Chirag Paswan is there, the voting percentage is 53.81%, and he is in fight with his Indi Gadbandhan's opponent, Shiv Chandra Ram is there. And in Muzaffarpur, Dr. Raj Bhushan Nishad of NDA is fighting election against Ajay Nishad of Congress. Ajay Nishad was earlier in BJP, and last election he won there on the ticket of BJP. And another seat, hot seat, I would say, is Saran, where Rajiv Pratap Rudi is fighting election against Rohini Acharya, as you know, who is the daughter of Lalu
Lalu
Prasad.
Prasad Yadav.
And yeah, there is I mean, an objection from the several quarters about her nationality. Some says that some say that she resides in Singapore,
Okay.
and how she will come here and look after the development work and all that. But the thing remains to be seen is the voters' enthusiasm is somewhat.
Mr.
low
Salman,
here
Mr.
in
Haider,
this
is
phase.
there a sympathy?
Yes.
Is there a sympathy factor, especially with Rohini, now that?
Yeah, that legacy point is there,
Okay.
but I don't think there is any sympathy
Okay.
thing.
Okay, I appreciate all three joining us. Gautam Roy joining us from Ladakh, Yogesh Sheetal from Maharashtra, and Salman Haider joining us from Bihar, getting us the latest pulse on what's buzzing on the ground. Time now to welcome our guests. Two eminent guests joining us. Akshay Raut, former DG, Election Commission, joining us on the Great Indian Election. We've got Aditi Tandon, senior associate editor from the Tribune, joining us this evening. Let me first come to you, Mr. Raut. Looking at numbers once again, we are still provincial numbers that we're looking at 57%, especially with Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh voting today. Numbers don't seem to be good. Once again, of the 7 phases that we have seen, 6 phases happen to take place, elections or voting happens to take place on a Saturday or a Monday or a Friday. Is that a cause of concern for the Election Commission to rethink, especially when it comes to keeping, voting days, close to the weekend?
Let me address this, Anil, first. Thank you very much. If the voting is on a Saturday or Monday, that gives an excuse or an opportunity, if you call it in a very dark sense, for the overnights to move into some type of holiday. But that doesn't explain the whole thing, because the making of an election schedule is a very complex subject to handle. And it has many other things to look at when the final schedule is drawn up. But just to say that, okay, and they have an extended holiday, that's why they must go out to Lamala or some other place, that doesn't exempt the overnights of the democratic duties that they have and the right that they need to exercise. So I'm not a believer in that these are the excuses for the people not to be part. And if they don't do, it's pretty wrong, actually. Now, coming to the aggregate, which is very important. In fact, this particular phase, the 5th phase, is definitely a bit of a downside. See, till 4th phase, we are talking about an overall accumulated 66% turnout, which is actually good. It is one of the best 3 in India's electoral participation history. But now, as expectedly, you just mentioned, and your reporters so nicely summed it up. Again, the Maharashtra and particularly the urban centers like Mumbai, Nasik, Thane have expectedly disappointed us. Because the votes remain at the level of say 45-47%, which is nothing much creditable for these cities. Mind you, I have knowledge that the Election Commission in fact called the metro commissioners into a huddle all over India, Mumbai included, just to make sure that how higher level of facilitation information can be done. And your reporter was saying that they also have polling booths in the high-rise buildings.
True.
But that doesn't really break the apathy. I'll just make one more point. I think these ladies and gentlemen, whoever they are in urban, middle class or all educated, qualified, and economically well, they should learn from Baramulla. This is like Baramulla, which has a difficult, some type of challenging past. And incredible. They have come to the level of 55% turnout. Incredible. And that is also likely to rise a little more. That gives a lot of confidence not only to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, it shows what do they want of election and the democratic participation. Because they have a chapter to tell people who are sort of more comfortably placed in a way in places like Mumbai, Nasik, or for that matter, other urban centers in India as well.
Aditi, the numbers that one talks about, we've been trying to find reasons for this low turnout. But, flip that as, let me flip that question for you. is that too much to choose when it comes to the voters in Mumbai in particular? You know, the Maharashtra, the 13 seats in Maharashtra where voting was held, and you're looking at good numbers to come from at least maximum city. You know, have they disappointed? Because, you know, the voters somewhere at the end of the day are disappointed with the way the political parties are playing, you know, politics over it.
No, you know, of course, weather is one factor in the low voter turnout, but weather can't be the only factor, because a voter that is inspired and motivated to vote will come out and vote no matter what, whether there's rain or storm. So we have to come back to what you correctly said, that there is a sort of voter apathy, especially in Maharashtra. Anil, if you see the kind of political firmament we have seen with the split across two major parties of the state, you know, the Nationalist Congress Party split, the Shiv Sena split. In fact, we have a situation in this election where even the Sharad Pawar family members do not know which side of the fence they stand. So even there's confusion in the top minds of top stalwarts. The election that we saw today in Maharashtra was very significant because out of 13 seats that have gone to polls in Maharashtra today, 7 were won by undivided Shiv Sena last time. So where is the contest? Contest is between Eknath Shinde and Uddhav Thackeray. So I do agree with you that, you know, there is this kind of voter disenchantment also with what is happening, with the way Indian polity is going, also with the shrillness of the campaigns. Perhaps, you know, voters do not feel that enough of their issues are being raised, or maybe, you know, it is for the Election Commission really to figure out what is going wrong with the voter percentage, because that is a sign of healthy democracy.
Mr. Raut, also looking at, you know, numbers now, you know, as we move further into phase 6 and 7, we still haven't got the final numbers, but looking at phase 6 and 7, you know, what's the challenge? We've got a little over 100 seats left. You know, what's the challenge, first of all, before the political parties? Because, you know, this is going to leave everyone confused, you know, on the evening at 6 p.m. on the 1st of June, you know, though everyone would be out with the numbers and trying to dissect it, it's going to leave every political party at the edge of the seat when you look at these numbers, and, you know, not great response from the voters when they, you know, when it comes to they coming out and voting and pressing the EVM machine.
Aditya was right, because political contestation is a reality. I think you can't rule out. I think that's the major push force for the voters. Having said that, Maharashtra never had a great history of electoral participation, by the way. There could be various reasons for that, and particularly the urban centers. In Maharashtra, we should not forget that it's a very urbanized state. And so there, the issue of urban apathy, which we also saw in places like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, and so no. So these are, this is a reality one has to fight in as many ways as one could. Like the Election Commission has did something called targeted turnout plan, you know, like pushing information, motivation, and facilitation, all three. Perhaps everyone needs to do more. Let me point out one thing. To the first phase poll, when there was a little dip in turnout, serious dip in turnout, everyone pushed the envelope. Political parties, Election Commission pushed it big time, and Aditya was very right. The heat is being on. It's not a factor. In fact, the IMD predictions for this particular phase was most of the places it was normal. In some places there were hot weather conditions for which Election Commission brought in some interventions. So you asked me the pointed question, Anil, about the next two phases. Next two phases also include places like Delhi, Gurgaon, and urban centers. So I'll be again worried, because the history of turnout of these urban centers, which are again concentrated, say in 6th and 7th phase, has not been great. So it requires the citizens to muster up their democratic spirit, their respect for election, their consciousness of their own right and duty, come and vote. Otherwise, except for the if you look, Bihar and UP, they have certain other type of difficulties. They have been inching towards 60%, falling short of that. But otherwise, most of the village areas in India, they have been voting reasonably well. I'll be again concerned about the urban centers in 6th and 7th phase.
Okay. Let's also quickly get our two correspondents there. Kriti Vadera joining us from Uttar Pradesh. We've got Ashutosh Mishra joining us from Odisha. Let me first come to you, Kriti. Uttar Pradesh, though this is the minimum number of seats in this particular, across all 7 phases, but it's a high ticket, winner takes all election phase, especially when it comes, to all the political parties in the fray, cutting across party lines. What's been the trend that you've picked from the ground in this particular phase?
Yes, well, good evening, Anil. And let me begin with telling you my experiences of what I faced during the day. Right from 6:30 a.m. in morning, we were on roads, and the extreme heat, the weather conditions were the key reasons for today's 5th polling. I'm standing in Faizabad parliamentary seat. So the voters turnout appears to be little low what it was in 2019. So I feel personally, when we were talking to people, to youngsters and to the senior citizens, people came to vote, especially when it comes to the urban cities like assembly seats like Ayodhya, in early morning hours and in late evening hours. So the voter turnout in Ayodhya has gone down, according to the previous data what we faced in 2019.
Okay, let's also get Ashutosh Mishra in. Ashutosh, looking at Odisha and the seats that go to polls today, what's your assessment on what's happened on the ground today in the 5 seats in Odisha?
The 5 seats that went to polls today, these were very important seats. 4 of them from Western Orissa, which is generally considered to be the stronghold of Bharatiya Janata Party. Bargarh, Sundargarh, and Kandhamal. These are seats which are considered to be BJP. For example, in Kandhamal has been trying to improve its situation. Bargarh was with the BJP. Sundargarh was with the BJP. Former Union Ujjwala Ram, he holds that seat and he was in the fray. And then you total 5 seats where stakes are very high for both the parties' main contestants. For example, Naveen Patnaik led Biju Janata Dal and the BJP. Congress, of course, is there trying to make the contest triangular, but they don't have that kind of strength. So it is mainly a duel between BJP and BJD. And the stakes are high for both the parties. They tried their best. The last figure that we had, the average turnout was 60.55. Much less than what we saw in the last round. But of course, it will go up. When we get the final figures, it will go up. And 35 assembly seats also went to polls, and these seats included the Kantabanji seats, which is the second seat that Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik is contesting from. And in this particular region, Suvarnapur, that was the seat which saw a very high polling percentage of 71%. So stakes are very high, and voters generally were enthusiastic, and most of these were young voters, nearly 24%, below the age of 30 years. 30 years. And then women also turned out in large numbers, but heat and humidity, these reduce the polling percentage.
Dibendu Mondal joining us from West Bengal. Dibendu, we've, the last few days has been all about, many things, especially when it comes to Russian politics, a lot of other things being said. When one takes a look at the ground, what's working when it comes to Mission 2024 for all political parties in West Bengal?
Well, Anil, of course, this election of Mission 2024 is, of course, very difficult for all the political parties that are contesting elections in this particular state of West Bengal. Be it the BJP, be it the Trinamool Congress, all of them are facing a tough battle here on the ground because of multiple issues that the ruling Trinamool Congress government have been facing here, as well as the BJP's central government at the center. So, of course, the voters are taking calculated decisions before they are going to cast their vote in the polling stations. And we have seen Bengal casting enough number of votes, and in fact is the highest in the state, in the country, with about 75% recorded till 5 p.m. It is expected to go up to 80% by tomorrow, after the Election Commission puts the final tally by maybe tomorrow or day after. But of course, important issues, including unemployment, corruption, as you rightly said, the ration scam that had rocked the Bengal government here is, of course, some of the key issues that the people of Bengal are dwelling upon before going to cast their vote.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Appreciate all three of you joining us. Kriti Vadera joining us from Uttar Pradesh, Ashutosh Mishra from Odisha, Dibyendu Mandal joining us from West Bengal. Well, the Great Indian Election is your one-stop show on weekdays on all that matters in India's general elections. What would be our topic of discussion on Tuesday night? A sneak peek. The northern state of Haryana goes to polls on May 25th in the 6th phase. BJP looks to repeat the perfect 10 while Congress is facing a battle for revival. The regional factions of INLD and JJP look to stay relevant in the high-pitch winner-takes-all battle. Watch why the farmers' heartland matter on the Great Indian Election at 8:30 p.m. IST only on DD India. Well, before I say goodbye, it's time to say thank you to the two guests who joined us this evening. Akshay Raut, pleasure always having you here. Aditi, always with us through this election phase. Thank you. Appreciate both of you joining us. Well, it's a wrap of this edition of the Great Indian Election. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. Good night. Stay safe. Take care.